Welcome to our Lungitude video series. These are short 10-minute videos where we talk about different subjects and we get different patients or caregivers on. And today we are joined by Shane and Sam, and they're going to talk about what it's like to have a second transplant. A lot of us have had one, but we're curious to know what it's like when you're told that you need to have a second one.
So I needed a double lung transplant due to the long-term effects of cystic fibrosis, which I was diagnosed with when I was 3 months of age. First transplant lasted for 5 years, and then I caught an infection which led to rejection and landed me back on the transplant list, and blessed enough to get a second set of lungs, and that was 9 years ago now, and going great. Well, I was also born with cystic fibrosis, and now I'm 43 years old, and I've had 2 double lung transplants. The first one, I was like 30 years old, and that only lasted about 3.5 years, and so I had to sign back up and have a second set, which I've still got now. When I was told I actually needed a second double lung transplant, I still get emotional thinking about it now. I couldn't believe it, because I was actually building 2 townhouses at the same time after the first set, booked a trip to travel overseas, and I didn't realise that this would all happen again. The doctors put me aside and said, look, you've got nothing to lose. You have to do this. And it was a lot easier actually just to sign the paper the second time around. It's quite different to the first set. And I have been travelling overseas for the transplant games everywhere. I've been catching up on everything, finished building the 2 townhouses, the whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's been 9 years just this week, and it's been an amazing journey, and I'm here to inspire a lot of other people now go through it. I have spoken to many others that are thinking of a transplant, and it just comes up in conversation that everyone is different, and who knows, if I do need a third set one day, I will do it all over again. When I found out that I needed my second double lung transplant, I was actually quite sick in hospital at the time. So I was at the Alfred, and the transplant team come around and suggested it. And to be honest, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I just thought, no, I was going to get better. Things were going to change, but they just were on a down slope. Yeah, it wasn't quite as easy for me to kind of make that decision. Ultimately, I did, and it was the best one I've ever made. But yeah, it did take a little bit. I suppose just being so sick, and I was in hospital for 5 months straight leading up to that decision. So to be honest, all I wanted to do was get home and see family, because I live in Mildura, and it's 700 k's away from the Alfred Hospital, so I hadn't seen any family friends that much, and for them to kind of suggest that to me, sort of hit home a little bit that I was sicker than what I thought. I wasn't getting better like I thought I might. So a lot of those things kind of struck home, and obviously, when you're that sick, that's a transplant in any case is the worst case scenario. It's like the last chance you have. So had good talks with my family and close friends about it, and decided that that was the way to go. I was still young. I was relatively fit in the way of, if I could get another transplant, I could recover well. They thought so. And just made that decision to go on the list again, and just was enough to receive a second set.
It's great. Because I imagine everyone has a different view on it. I know when I first had mine, the last thing on my mind was wanting to do another one. Like some people say, "Oh, would you do it again?" I'd be like, "Nope." But now, many years out, I would say yes. So I think you do change depending on the circumstances. That's for sure.
Differences between my first transplant and second transplant, I found, was a little bit longer to recover the second time around. I was also impatient with things as well, obviously, because you've done it all before. You've done the rehab, you've done the follow-ups before, you know how well you can actually get. So you just want to jump ahead and get to that really well and fit stage. you've just got to go through all the motions and yeah, just be patient with it.
Yeah, and to feel like that you needed another transplant was, yeah, it's hard to explain. It's just, it took me 5 years to sign up the papers for the first set, but the second set, I was just not, well, put in one way that I couldn't waste much more time and to go back on the list. So I think that was important, and it did feel a lot harder, but considering you've been on medications and things and been saying goodbye to family and all over again, it's just, it's so hard. I'm looking, but everyone is so different, and just getting through it. I mean, and setting goals in your life helps you get through it, and thinking you're here for your family, and it makes such a difference. And now I'm able to talk to a lot of people about it if they need another transplant, and the whole process, and and the success that you get from it, and not just compare yourself to people that haven't made it to a second transplant, or been very unhealthy and are unable to be like sign the papers once again due to other circumstances. But it's, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, thank you for sharing that with both of you, because yeah, unless we've been in that position, it's very difficult to imagine how you would feel and what decision you would make. Let's talk about what else you would tell somebody if they were needing a second one. You know, what recommendations or suggestions or tips would you give them? What would be your advice?
Well, just to accept that if you do need one, and set some goals. What you would like to do. Like, I found it's a lot easier. Just, well, not still to get over it, like that you needed another second transplant. I think call and talk to other people's and their families,
Mhm.
and go through the process. And you've got nothing else to lose. I mean, because you can't get your original lungs back, and
True.
the second time round, I mean, you can't compare it to the first set, because I'm living an amazing life at the moment, and yeah, I've had other issues with skin cancers and everything like that. But set goals, go to the transplant games, and do everything that you like. Go back to work, and you will get everything again second time round. And some people say, "What about a third time round?" I still
Yeah.
happy to live life. That's which is important.
Well, there have been people that have had 3 or even 4 lung transplants, so that certainly is the case. I mean, we hope that everyone just needs the one, but you know, if you need a second one, and it sounds like both of you are doing really well off the back of that, so that's great.
Yeah, think about it, but think of the positives that can come out of it as well. Yes, it's not ideal to have a second one, but at the same time, it's another opportunity you get. It's a fresh start, so to speak. You can get healthier, if not even healthier and fitter than the first time around. Patient in yourself, your transplant team, and the rehab, and just be patient and all that. And good things start to happen. It won't be straight away. It might be easier on the track. You will start to go back to work and stuff like Sam said, and like look at myself, like after my second one, I got married. Me and my wife have had a baby. Like it's life's changed completely. Everyone's got a different view and different opinion on it, but mine would just be kind of stay true to yourself and yeah, just go for it because you can get well again and things can get back on track.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, that's great. I mean, the fact that you've had a second transplant and got married and had a baby and all the things that Sam's doing with helping others and transplant games and things, it just goes to show that yeah, having that second one's really giving you guys another lease on life. So yeah, so you've got extra birthdays happening, or
That's right.
anniversaries as we like to call them. So yeah, no, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories. And if anyone is in the process of having to go through contemplating a second one, or maybe in the early days of a second one and want to reach out, then yeah, certainly reach out through the Lungitude Foundation. We can put you in touch with Sam and Shane if they're happy to have a chat to others about it. Thank you very much for your time. All the best for your second set of lungs.